don't need your money, you can pay me in respect. Cause once I do it big, what's to follow? It's a check. I need 100 bags, nothing more, nothing less. And the ops feel away, cause I'm next, I'm a threat. Oh yeah. Really, y'all don't know this, y'all in danger, I'm a threat.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Elevate with Scott Handley. Today, I have a very special guest. She's a 24-year mortgage loan officer, veteran in the industry. You've seen her around Fresno. You've probably seen her on your pre-approval letters. I have Michelle Walker, known as Walker Home Loans. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Scott. It's great to be here. Thank you. It's, we've talked about doing this, so I'm very excited.
Yeah, you're actually the kind of the guinea pig of putting together our podcast room here. So, this is going to be an awesome episode.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. It's not the first time I've been a guinea pig, so it's, but what we do here is creative and fun. So, I think this is a great opportunity to get some good information out and
yeah, and glad to have
stories.
Exactly. And that's why I brought you on, because, there's a lot of people out there that want to know a little bit more about Michelle Walker. She's a very, strong woman, and, you get out there, you're a businesswoman. Can you take us back to, when you first started in the mortgage industry?
Yeah, and that's a great question. Thank you for asking. I was in, I worked in, I went to school for finance and computers and accounting. And when I did that, I was an office manager at a reclamation company.
Okay.
And I was a newly single mother.
Mm-hmm.
So as a newly single mother with 4 children, that income wasn't going to get it done.
Right.
And I didn't expect that to happen, but it did. So when it did, I thought to myself, what am I going to do? Right. And, so what I did was a friend of mine worked in the industry, and she seemed to be doing very well. And she said, I think you'd be great at this. And my mother was a salesperson, and she always said that I had the gift of gab. In fact, she said that I could talk a nut out of a squirrel's mouth. That's the gift I have. So I thought that was pretty funny. But so I said, okay, we'll give it a shot. But I was afraid of commission, like everybody's afraid, commission.
Right.
Income,
they want the security of a pay stub.
Sure.
Yep.
But there's that time that you've got to step out in faith and not fear. And I got to that level of desperation in my life. And I thought to myself, well, I better start building something now, because I have these little humans that are watching.
Yep.
And I didn't want them to be able to see that you don't have to go after in life what you want to get out of it. You have to go after it, and you have to take chances. And like they say, there's no reward without risk.
Right.
So I figured it was a healthy risk. Like all I would have to do to fail is not work hard, and I've never been afraid of working hard. So I said, okay, let's do it. And so I had some great mentorship along the way. And I worked with a great group of people back then. And so they taught me, and that's when we did handwritten applications.
Yeah.
And we did, there was no computers. I think DOS was the computer system back then.
So was like the handwritten, was that like the white, the pink, the yellow carbon paper?
No,
applications,
it was actually not that I can remember carbon, but it was just a 4-page 1003.
Interesting.
And we made copies, we filled it all out, and we had the disclosures. We printed the whole package, and then we had the disclosures, and we made copy packages for our clients. And what, there was I remember now there was some carbon fiber in there. Yeah.
Okay.
I remember now that I'm thinking back.
Right.
I have to.
But it sounded like you had the right ingredients going in. You had an accounting background, so you were pretty good with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have sales, so you're extroverted. So that was almost a perfect mix to have a good foundation for you to be successful in mortgages.
Yeah, I think it was, and you never know who you're going to be until you're put into that space.
Sure.
And you find out what you're made of.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I got in there, and when I started meeting with people and I started taking, an active role in learning and started to get really excited about what I was doing, then I wanted to learn more and I wanted to become better. And then, of course, you make a little bit of money and you think to yourself, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this, and this, I can turn this into something. And sure enough, within the first 6 months of doing this business, I was making more in that 6 months than I did in a whole year
Wow.
working as an educated office manager.
Mm-hmm.
And it just never really stopped from there. Like I didn't look back, and I haven't looked back. You know, that was December 29th of 1999.
Yeah, you mentioned that earlier in this
And,
podcast. That's cool. You remember the date you stepped in this industry.
I remember
Yeah.
the date because it was right after Christmas, and I remember that Christmas was very tough for us.
Mm-hmm.
You
Wow.
know, and that was it. And I never looked back. You know, I had done some other things, you know, with family, some other family business ventures, and just always never too far removed from this industry. And so I just
Right.
stayed here.
Have you always been an entrepreneur type like that, to just go after it and, you know, burn the ships and say, hey, look, I'm all in, I'm devoted, I'm going full force? Or was that something that you had to learn through maybe mentors and getting the right support system and the right group around you?
I think for me, it was a combination of both. I think for me, it was about getting in here and then again, finding out what you're made of and finding that drive, right? Finding that piece of you that says, I didn't know I was capable of this.
Right.
I didn't know I could do bigger things.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there was, you know, in my growing up, you know, people didn't promote me that way. And, you know, my childhood wasn't defined like that. Although I had a mother who believed in me wholeheartedly and said I could do anything, society and, you know, different things that went on in my life didn't teach me that I was, you know, that I had that kind of drive in me. I had to find it. And this industry brought it to me. And with the series of mentorship, different mentors,
Mm-hmm.
coaching programs,
Right.
sticking around winners, people who were successful. You
Yeah.
know, they always say if you hang out with the winners, you'll be a winner.
You level
So,
up. Yep.
yeah. So that was for me. It was like I wanted to be around people that were driving and moving and shaking in this business, and I did what they did. So if you want what they got, you got to do what they did.
They do. Yep. That's awesome.
So that was for me. That was the thing that's like, and then it was from there. It was kind of nonstop. It was like the entrepreneur. But what else can I do?
Wow.
Where else can I grow?
Did you guys just hear that? That was amazing golden nuggets that Michelle just dropped for you guys right there. I mean, just, you know, she had to just get around the right environment. You had to put yourself in that position to make sure you keep growing, and you still today, you still get coaching, you still educate yourself, you still stay on top of your craft. And that's why you're most of the time number one in the office.
Well, you know, and a lot of it has to do with where I am at now. And you're right, I don't stop educating and I don't stop coaching because I always want to remain teachable. I want that level of humility in my business and in my life where I'm never the best, or I haven't arrived in any aspect of my business or my personal life.
That's a great mindset.
Yeah, because I want to continue to grow and develop and be able to give back. And so on that note, you know, I think where I am now with Western Pioneer and you and this company is right where I'm supposed to be, because you provide such leadership. You provide the tools, the resources, the open door policy that you have for us. And that's success. That's the definition of success. If you're aligned with people who give that to you, and I'm going to tell you, like, I've worked for many, many companies in the past. And did I get that kind of support? Often, but not like this.
Well,
you know, and I, you know, I wouldn't be where I am without any of those people and those companies that I worked for. And I've always gotten something from each and every one of them.
right.
But like, it's different here. It really truly is. There's that level of open door policy and the resources and the tools and the meetings and the masterminds and the technology and the systems, you know, and look at this. Look what we're doing here. You
Well,
know?
you know, hearing that just motivates me even more, because we have a partnership. That's what I always see it as. And, you know, just to see how hard you work day in and day out, you're oftentimes the first in the office, last to leave. I feel as your business partner that I have a duty to just support whatever I can, whether it's, hold you up on technology on this way or get your back on this, on that way, because this is a partnership. And I see how hard you work and the energy you bring in this office. I mean, that's priceless. We're coming off post, COVID, where there are people that work remote. There's others that work in the office, but when you're here, you're in the office pretty much 5 days a week. You're very, very focused. And even though we have a lot to offer for support, I always feel like, what can I be doing better for Michelle? Because she's so like independent. She goes in her corner office and just gets to work. And, but oftentimes I know if I were to, take you out of your mojo a little bit, I don't want to take you off of your production. So, so independent. And, oftentimes I'm like, where can I like support Michelle more? Cause she's just going.
Yeah. I get into my little grind time. That's for sure. It's grind time for me all the time. And I don't break away for a whole bunch of lunches. I bring my lunch every day. I'm just one of those kind of people. I think there's, again, it's, I read this book one time and it was called Your Brain is Always Listening by Dr. David Amen. One of the best reads that I've ever.
Take note, guys. Yep.
Yeah. Dr. David Amen, your brain is always listening. And it talks about those things, those activities that you do, and you train your brain, right? You train your brain to do certain things that are going to make you the best that you can be. So like every morning I get up, I make my bed every day.
Love it. It's your first win.
Yeah. Like my closet's organized. My home is for the most part organized most of the time. Your
office is always tidy.
There's things, there's a routine to everything I do. So when I come into the office, I grind.
Yeah.
I have my calendar that I block times and I try to stick to that to the best that I can. There's always going to be those things that come about that you don't get to do it to an exact. But if you can manage your time and you can do those things, then you become successful. It doesn't mean like with you, like when you want to reach out or I need to reach out or you think you need to be doing more for me, I know you're there.
Awesome.
I know you're there. Mm-hmm. If I need it, I know it's there. Cool. But me showing up is about who I want to be as somebody. Like if love people who work from home, if you want to work from home, that's great. But when I'm home, there's times that I need to work from home for certain things that are going on. But when I'm home, I tend to think of home as that place where I get to relax.
Good. Okay.
That's not the place where I go to grind.
Right.
I go to work to grind and to hustle and to move, because I'm around other people who are doing the same thing as I am.
Right.
I want to create that energy for this office.
And you do.
And I think if people see you doing that, then they're going to want to do what you do.
Exactly.
If they see that you're successful, like I said, I want to be somebody who somebody else looks up to and says, I want that kind of success.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's all about giving back.
Or be that reason why someone doesn't quit.
Exactly.
Or never give up on themselves.
I think when we're here, we can make that a part of what other people want to do as well.
That's awesome. Now, I would say I'm guilty of when I go home, I do have a hard time disconnecting. Do you have that same? Or hey, once I'm off, I have a switch, I could turn that off. I could put my phone possibly on do not disturb and spend my time with my family. Are you able to turn it off when you get home?
That's a forced activity.
Okay.
It is a forced activity. No, because I never stop thinking about my clients or my agent partners or their needs or their, the deal's just as important to me as it is to the buyers, the sellers, and the agents.
Right.
Everybody's important. So there's no point in which I get to really turn it off because it's always, resonating in my mind about either, sometimes it's really even hard for me to sleep.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking either about something that's going on in a transaction or what I can do to promote myself or market my agents or just grow my business.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if for somebody who is driven successfully is always kind of on that. But I do have to find the time to shut it down.
Yeah.
So I try my best not to, have a certain time where I say, the phone goes down and I do a little meditation or I do a little, my husband's, you got to spend time with, your partner.
Sure.
And, I have this thing I call tea time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I do tea time at night and that's me.
Is it the sleepy tea time? By chance?
I do. I do my favorite's ginger.
Okay.
Yeah. So I do a ginger tea and I, with a little turmeric and cinnamon and it's the, the full body good for you stuff. But
Yeah.
so that's just kind of my time. When I have my tea, that's when I shut it down.
Right.
So tea time is when it goes down. But like I have to make myself, it doesn't come naturally.
So would you say that's compartmentalizing a little bit? Would you say?
I would say compartmentalizing, mixed with strategizing, mixed with, you have to, if you have a vision or you have a goal, you have to manifest it.
Sure.
Right. And when you manifestation of your dreams and your, it's all stems from your thoughts.
Yep.
Right. So I'm constantly thinking about manifestation. How can I manifest myself to grow in every area of my life, whether it's personal or business or even spiritual for me? Because I lead a very spiritual life.
You do? Yep.
So I don't think that I should stop doing those things. And there are times that I need to make sure that I rest.
So we talked about, how important it is for mentally, physically, spiritually, kind of the whole financially. So do you believe in balance? Do you feel that you should be balanced at all times, or are there times where maybe in one area of your life you need to give it more attention, whether it's your business or maybe your health? What's your take, Michelle, on living a balanced life?
The older that I get and the longer that I'm in this business, I think balance is super important. Do we always get it? No. But you have to work at something like that, because I can tell myself I'm not working hard enough or I'm not doing enough. I could be doing more.
Right.
And I think that leads to a level of stress or anxiety or, overworking myself to the point where I'm not happy about what I'm doing, or it's always going to have this business is always going to have a level of stress.
Sure.
To it. So you have to find time to do a hobby, spend time with loved ones. For me, I've got, a wonderful partner and I've got beautiful grandkids, and I want to spend time. I don't work as hard as I do because I want to spend all my time doing this. I have to do that in order to spend quality time with them doing things that we love.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
And so that is kind of a driver for me. It's like I work hard so I can spend quality time and do fun activities with my family. And I love golf.
Yeah.
As everybody
knows. That's a great take.
I'm a golfer. That's my thing. That's my Zen place. So like golf for me is that new hobby that I have found that really takes me when I'm there and I'm on the golf course. That's all I think about is my game.
Good. You're present.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I think about. I don't generally take my phone or answer text messages or calls when I'm out there.
Good for you.
I use that time to really just, and when I get back, I'm ready. I'm ready to take the calls. I'm ready to answer the emails. I'm ready to, dive into that next project.
You kind of get recharged, it sounds like. Like revigorated a little bit because, last thing you want to do is be on the golf course and, having to take a 10:03 or, having to run an updated DU and get that in, so.
If I see the call coming in, I know it's important. I have before where I stop and answer it, and just say, hey, listen, I'm right in the middle of something, or I've got something going on, don't want to tell my clients I'm golfing. But
right.
Probably edit that.
They understand you live a life too. As how hard you work, you've earned your right to be on the golf course.
Balance is super important. I think that we all have to find a level of balance when we do a business like this, where there's a constant, there's no steady paycheck. There's no, you have to work.
Yeah.
If you want to be successful, you have to work hard.
Right.
So you have to try to find some time for balance in order to keep your mental health clear and your spiritual self clear. I'm a big component of spiritual life. I go to church. It's very important to me.
Yeah. So we talked about the importance of balance, and in this industry, I feel we have to have that because we could get sucked in and just work, and just be tunnel vision and forget other aspects, of our life. So I agree. It does take a lot of balance. I always like to ask this, Michelle, do you feel life's a journey, or do you feel life's about the destination, or do you feel it's a little bit about both? How do you feel?
I would say for me, if I seriously had to think about that question, I would say life is more about the journey. I would give a lot more credit to the journey because the journey is the experience.
Right.
The journey is the ups and the downs,
The trials, tribulations.
the trials,
Yeah.
the failures, the successes, because, my mom always told me, she was this woman of profound sayings in growing up. And she always told me, says, you know what, Michelle, you're not good at something until you're bad at it first.
That's
And I always thought that was like, when she told me that, and it was one of those things that's just always stuck with me. And it's absolutely true. It's like, you can't go into something knowing you're going to be great at it the moment you start it.
right.
It takes time to build a business. It takes time to build success. It takes time to build a good golf game.
Yeah.
Like to
how many
become
swings?
a great golfer.
How many? Yep.
Tens of thousands of swings.
Yep.
My golf coach tells me 10,000 range balls on that swing. That's a lot.
Wow.
Of
Okay.
range balls.
Yeah.
So like, this business, that's life. That's, parenting, right?
Yep.
We can all agree to that. That is, with anything else. So I think the journey is where the triumphs, the successes, the failures, all of the stuff that makes you who you are. And the destination is like that point in which you get to look back, or maybe even retire
Yeah.
and look back and say, man, I really did a lot, or, I did good enough.
Right. That's an awesome answer. And it's almost, I guess, then you can't really experience the top of the mountain unless you have been in the valley a little
That's
bit
right.
too. And
Yeah.
that's with setbacks, some heartbreaks, some failures and things like that. And that's what, being an entrepreneur is about. There's going to be different markets. There's going to be challenges. There's going to be, escrows that just fall apart that we just cannot control. Is there maybe anything you can share with our audience here, maybe about some challenges that Michelle had to maybe overcome, or some setbacks on her journey? Is there anything that you could share to help maybe someone that may be feeling a little bit stuck in a way, and how you're able to overcome some challenges or anything like that?
Well, being she opened that door, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to expose a real level of transparency here.
Wow. Awesome.
Okay. And I think that it's valued as valuable because this is, it is a very important part of who I am.
Michelle's journey
is the sum of my experiences. And those experiences come from a life of, it was pretty dysfunctional when I was a young girl, and I had to learn some very hard lessons. And I am actually a woman in recovery. So, I am the survivor of addiction and domestic violence. And
you're part of groups, and you're a good,
yeah,
and you're a voice.
It's just one of those things. It's, it happened. And what do I get to do with that information now? I get to use it to help myself, to help other women, to help other people who struggle with addiction. And I think it's very important that we don't slide those things underneath a rug anymore. There's nothing I need to be ashamed about or feel like I'm different because I've made some poor choices in my life. Because the turnaround story, the success story, is what counts.
And look at where you're at today.
That's right.
I love when you are the
comeback
poster.
story's got to matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it's all about that for me. It's all about the comeback story. Yeah, those things happened in my life. Yes, I made some very bad decisions. Yes, I hurt some people that I love dearly, but I think it's all about the forgiveness.
Yeah.
The forgiveness of myself and the forgiveness of others. I get to be a living testimony today.
Yeah.
A living testimony that life doesn't, just because those things happen doesn't mean that I have to allow myself to become greater than I'm supposed to be.
Wow. I love that. Yeah. Would you say faith played a major role during that time or after that time? Where would you say faith played a role in tougher times?
Well, faith for me was something that I didn't know I had.
Interesting. Okay.
I didn't really know anything about that growing up.
Okay.
Spirituality or faith. I didn't come from a history, or my family didn't go to church or do anything like that or have a spiritual sense about them. It was a very different life. But when I got to a point in my life through addiction and through, a very hard relationship, and I had to find a new way. And when I did, when I let myself become spiritually connected to God, that's when my life really began to change.
Beautiful.
Really began to change because you know what I mean? Faith will move mountains. Faith will change people's hearts. Faith will change the way that you forgive others and the way that you allow yourself to be forgiven.
Absolutely.
You know, and so for me, when I found that spiritual side of myself, when I knew that there was beyond a doubt that there was a God in heaven who loved me, you know, that I didn't have to be less than anything that I really ever wanted to truly become based on my past.
This is powerful.
Thank you. And it's just because, and now I want to be able to do that for other people.
Right.
You know, I want to be able to show them that it doesn't matter what's happened to you in your life. It's your comeback story.
Yeah.
It's your comeback story.
And look how strong you are sharing
and it's
this.
because of those things that you get to be the person that you are today.
Right.
Because what if those things had never happened? Would you be the same person that you are right now?
Probably not.
And maybe somebody will say yes to that, have a yes answer for that question. But for me, it's all about, you know, my husband asked me one time, he said, did you ever think that your life would be where it's at now? And I said, no, I didn't. He goes, well, neither. And there's a way that we said it that was, you know, I think he said, he asked me, he said, did you, I can't believe your life is where it is now. I would have never saw this coming. And I told him, I said, neither did I.
Wow.
Neither did I. And so, yeah, it was one of those, you know, you have aha moments in your life.
Yep.
Right. And I think getting my first commission check in this business was an aha moment.
Yep.
Watching my first grandchild be born was an aha moment.
Yes.
You know,
similar to my firstborn.
Yeah. And I think even now, even today, the littlest of things, even though not little, like seeing my name up on our success board as number one.
Yeah.
That's an aha moment.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I get to have an aha moment.
You deserve it though.
Yeah. You know, but it comes along with the people that you surround yourself with too. Right.
Yep.
Are you around people that support your dreams? Are you around people that are going to encourage you, help you drive, you know, and not rest on your belief system?
So it's your environment. Your environment is very crucial and very important. Yeah, I could attest to that
Absolutely.
myself.
Yeah. And you know, you have a legacy.
There you go. Yep.
You have a legacy that you're leaving behind, and you want that legacy to see how hard you've worked.
Yep.
What you've done, and that, you know, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And so that's the legacy I want my grandkids to see, and my children, because they're still very teachable, as am I.
Yeah, that is awesome. That's such, you know, such great words of wisdom and experience that you're passing on. And I'm taking note myself because that's what it's about at the end of the day is, you know, just being fulfilled and happy and I guess making those around you proud. And you're definitely doing that. And just to hear some of your stories on just bringing it to the light, because I think there's a lot of people out there that, you know, may have gone through something similar that what you have in the past, and they just may feel that, you know, there's no way out, but, you know, you are living proof of overcoming anything that could come in your way, even some of the toughest challenges that life has to offer. Michelle has overcame those, and it's just amazing to hear about it. And that motivates me, you know, that really just sits and resonates with me.
Success stories that I've heard, you know, like that. And I don't think that I went through any of that without a purpose, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to look back on my life and say, you know, I don't want to have regrets.
Yep.
I don't want to have regrets. And I don't regret that ever happened. You know, could I change some things? Probably. Maybe if I, you know, would I want to change some of that? Probably. You know, the part where it hurt my children, you know, or my family members had to see some of the pain, you know, that, and you really don't realize, you know, that you're causing pain at the time until the pain, you know, until you have to look at it for what it really is. And
Gotcha.
so for me, I'm still very ingrained in the recovery part of my life, you know, and giving back.
Yeah.
Because it's important to me. I still want people to know that they can overcome anything.
Yes.
That there's programs out there, there's people out there, there's opportunities for them, and they can turn it around, and I believe anybody can change their mind at any time and become a success story.
Wow. I mean, we got to microclip that and get that out there, Michelle. Not a lot of people, present that as eloquently and as profound as what you just stated there. So, that's absolutely right. And I know we should probably have a series of these things, because I know that we could probably start going on forever here. But and I know you only scratched the surface, and there's more I definitely want to dig in with you. So we're gonna have to do a round 2 of this.
Yes,
so,
let's do it.
But thank you for being on here and sharing some of your stories on a very personal matter. And at the end of the day, a lot of people want to know who Michelle Walker is, and the message that you sent today is. Wow, it kind of gives me chills. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. And, it's an honor to be here and working for this company.
Awesome.
Well,
it's an honor to be. Thank you. And work alongside you too. Thanks, Michelle. Yeah. Hopefully we got some of those.
That was great.